So this will be a quick tutorial on how to remove, sharpen, and reinstall your lawnmower blades. And this will apply to lawnmowers with 1, 2, 3, or even more blades. But obviously here we have a nice small lawnmower. We'll have a single blade. And the first thing you're going to want to do is raise your lawnmower to get to the underside. I'm using just a basic floor jack. If you have bricks, cinder blocks, or even a buddy to help you raise that guy up, that'll be a good first step. Then what you're going to want to do is make sure that you disconnect your spark plug, and this is mainly just so that way we don't inadvertently start the lawnmower while you're underneath it. You don't want to lose any hands here. So once you got those two steps done, we can go ahead and go on the underside. So here we are on the underside of the lawnmower, and what you'll notice is that you'll have a bolt and a locking plate holding your blade in place. So you'll figure out what size your bolt is. In my case, I have a 5/8 inch bolt, and you'll want to grab either a socket with a wrench attached to it, or I'm just going to use an impact just because it'll be quicker. And then you'll also want to grab a piece of wood or just anything that you can use in order to block this blade off. So what's going to happen is as you're rotating the blade to undo it, you will also be spinning the blade, and we want to keep our blade stationary so that way all of our rotational force is centered on removing this guy right here. So what you'll do is get your piece of wood set up and wedged in here, so that way when you go to loosen your bolt, this guy won't move on you. As you can see right there, be careful, this blade may be sharp. In our case, I don't know how old it is, so it may be dull as well, but go ahead and unscrew this guy all the way. And our coupler came off of our engine shaft right here, but the important thing to do is take note of your orientation, and I'll show you that in 1 second. So take note of your orientation. What does that even mean? Well, it simply means you'll see that we have a key right here. This goes into the keyway on the engine, so to make sure that this guy stays nice and put. But you have this little mechanism right here that I'm holding in my right hand. Then you have your blade. And then you have your clamping block right here, and then your bolt. So just make sure that you keep these guys in order so that way when you go to reinstall, you'll know which way everything goes. And also take note of your blade orientation. So in our case, it's dirty enough that we can see our path that the washer down here fit onto. So when we go to reinstall, we want to make sure that this side is towards the ground. That way our blades are pushing our material out and we have everything safely secured. So down in the workshop, we're going to get set to sharpen this blade. And there are 3 methods you can use. The first being the slow hand process of getting a file and just scraping away at these edges. The other would be to get an angle grinder with a grinding disc and cutting those down. Or, my personal favorite, if you have it, take a bench grinder and go ahead and make some passes on that guy. So, how do you know if your blade needs to be sharpened? Well, that's easy. If you take a look at your cutting surface right here, you'll notice some nicks and some uneven edges. That's essentially just where we've hit rocks and the blade has just gotten dinged up a little bit. So we have our edge right along here, as well as our edge along there. That one, not as bad, but still. And the important thing to note is that when you guys are shaving material off, in order to keep everything nice and balanced and safe, because this will be rotating really fast when it's on the mower, you want to take an even amount off of the right and the left hand sides. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But for now, we'll go ahead, power up the bench grinder, and make nice, smooth, and even passes. So I'll go ahead, power this guy on, and then make some passes. I may need to mute the video or the audio on this portion of the video just because it might just get too loud, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing. The main purpose is to remember nice, even, easy passes. Now you'll see a nice and clean edge, and you'll see even a little bit of shine on that guy right over there. Now be careful because these are really sharp, so just take a little bit of caution. And we do have a little bit over here that we still need to grind away, but I thought I'd show you the process for balancing as well. So in order to make sure that your blade is nice and balanced after you're done sharpening, what I like to do is take a long common nail, throw it in a bench vise, and then what we're going to do is balance our blade on top of there. So you'll take your blade, very gently place it on the center, and you'll look for the tip of this guy. So you'll notice that this side right here is leaning down a little bit more, meaning that it is slightly heavier than that side, so we need to shave off a little bit more material over here in order for it to raise a little bit. And this will be an iterative process. Just go ahead and shave both sides down until you get a nice level blade in your setup right here. Then once everything's all nice and sharp, assembly is just the reverse of the disassembly. So remembering that we have our bolt that goes on first, then our washer, noting our blade positioning and how that went in, and then your collar on top. We'll go ahead, slide that on here, tighten the bolt up, and remember you're also going to want to have your piece of wood as well, because when we tighten, the same thing as reverse, the blade will want to spin as you tighten, so just get that guy locked off. So you can go ahead with everything lined up and reinstall. Then it's just a matter of reconnecting your spark plug, lowering your mower, and getting ready to cut. So hopefully this video helped you if your blade was running a little bit dull. This way you can sharpen it on your own and not have to go to a shop and pay for it, or even worse, buy a new blade altogether. So until next time, we'll catch you in the next one.